Here's the dove field on September 25th, I think. Anyway, it's a Wednesday. This past weekend, I harrowed all this up and I planted wheat, oats, and peas in here. But starting today around noon, we're going to have Hurricane Helene come in, and she's going to dump a lot of rain here. And I have these low spots like right here. I don't know if you can see that, how it bows down. Well, that goes all the way up to that little oak tree right there. So that water runs all the way down. And what I do is I cut these ditches in the field, and it's not necessarily so much for running the water off the field, but slowing it down. I do have one ditch that runs it off the field, and I'll cut that one in, or recut it in, open it back up. But right now I've got the harrow on here, and I'll need to drop that, and I'm going to drop it right where it's sitting. And I need to put this, what I call a center plow, a single row plow. I've heard it called a potato plow. This also, if you put a chisel point on here instead of that plow blade, it can be a subsoiler, which I've used it out in the field for that. It really livens up the soil when you cut real deep like that. I'm about to get started. It's just about 7:45. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to change that implement out, and I'm going to get out there and start cutting ditches. My erosion control. I'm going to have to cut some little ditches, turnouts right up here. I had one right here, but it's filled in. I've got one just right down there, and then one this side of that tall pine. But anyway, I'm about to get started. I'm going to set this camera down and let it record. I don't know how I want to do it. But right now I'll just set it like this, and then so I wanted to show you a couple of these that I've got right here in this corner. Goes there, and then if it bypasses this one, it'll hit this one. And the reason for that is my neighbor's got a fire break over here, and it's all downhill, and the water runs off the field and washes out his fire break, his trail, basically. So I'm trying to get it to go in the woods, and there's a ditch back there. And then it runs down this hill here on the side. But I've pretty much resolved that one. And when I plow this up or harrow it or whatever, I usually run something all the way across here to this edge so it'll catch and go in back there in that corner. There's a little rise right here where this windrow comes down. So this is a high spot. In other words, from this point right about here, the water runs either that way or over on his property. And I've cut these, what I call turnouts, on this edge here. Where they'll catch any water running down this way and actually run it on into those pines over there instead of going down his fire break. I noticed last year that water was just running down his fire break and making a big ditch. So I cut these little turnouts across it to help preserve his fire break. And you may think, well, he's got a big old ditch right in the middle of his fire break. Well, that's easily rendered. You just take a scrape blade or a box blade and fill them in. It doesn't take much. But here's another one that this one catches a pretty good amount of water running down this way. And then I've got this little one right here. It runs in and across, and I've got it across his fire break again and going into the pines where it can slow down and just spread out. Now in the field, I'm hoping you can see these dips on this side, and there's just a slight one on the other side of that oak tree. Well, I've got these little ditches cut here, and they're just basically like berms. They're just going to slow the flow of the water down. And like for here, I've got one, there's one here, one there, and then there's another one down there, and then even another one down there. So I have several of them in a row here. It just goes, they're right in the middle of these little low spots. You got that one, this one right here. There's another one right there, and then another one down there by that pile. All of those are just to catch the water and slow it down. I've got some down that way. There's three right there, and of course they'll hit this one right here that we're coming up on is a runoff ditch. It goes all the way across the property. I mean the field. And it has really helped to deter the washing out. But the water runs, hits it, runs down here. Again, crosses his fire break right here and goes into the woods. Now, it has washed out before and gone down his fire break, but that's okay because I've got another spot right here. This was the first one I put in because of this ditch. Let me back it out. Because of this ditch here, which I've dumped some loads of dirt in here, but that thing was over knee deep. But anyway, I built this mound up with a box blade here, and I had a hole right here that was probably 48 inches deep. But I kept working on it and filling it in with a box blade, and you can see down here, this is right now I'm on his property. This is his original fire break, and what he did is he had his harrows set up wrong. He didn't know. He had them real aggressive, and he had them where the front ones were cutting, but the back ones weren't filling in. And I told him, I said, all you're doing is making ditches. And he'd run up through here and then ran up on this side, which is my property, all the way down when he had a fire break over there. And I told him I didn't need a fire break over here. Well, ever since then, it's been a problem. So I've got this ditch cut in here, and it goes clear across. He's made a secondary fire break. He's made his fire break right here come out and kind of go around these pine trees, but I've cleared that out, and I've told him, he used to harrow them like once a month, and I told him, I said, if you let the grass and weeds and stuff grow on it, it helps hold the soil. So he's stopped doing that. He doesn't even mow them anymore. And I'm not sure, I think he knows these ditches are here, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it's just because it's to help him out too, because all this water runs right down in this corner here and goes over on his property and washes out the remainder of his fire break down there. So anyway, that's taken care of. That's around noon we'll start getting rain, and then tomorrow it's 100%, and they're calling for 2 to 4 inches. But what gets us are what I call gully washers, ones that come in real hard and fast. It doesn't allow it to soak in the ground, and it just runs off. Well, if we get any of those out of this, these swales, these ditches, they'll slow that run down. And I've got a spot right there in between the tractor and the harrow where water runs and runs underneath my place. So I put this ditch right here, and then the others are up that way. And that's it. I guess that implement right here, it catches a lot of roots and grass, weeds, but that's it. Find a spot to throw this. There it is, cleaned off.